Welcome to the stream, everybody. Hello, it has been a long time. Thank you so much for joining. Hello, over 2972. Hello, the cameraman. You even submitted to this contest. Welcome. Hello, GT Pancake. Welcome to the stream, everybody. So, let's lay down what we're actually going to do today. I held, as you may have known, let's back up a little bit. I held the 1024 challenge as a community-wide challenge on my YouTube channel and public Discord server a few months ago, and that went extremely well. It was some really amazing stuff, but it took forever, and I mean absolutely forever, like multiple weeks of work to sort through everything, edit those videos together, and like plan that out. So I kind of wanted to do the same thing or a very similar thing, except with a themed contest. So it's a contest with a little bit more of a like tighter theme. So it's not like you can submit any character. It's more like you submit something in the theme of the contest. And for this contest theme, it was retro. So I wanted to do that, and I also wanted to have it be a little bit smaller so I can kind of get through things in a more reasonable time scale, because I want to hold these pretty often. I want this to start to be a regular thing where I am reviewing community-made work live, because I think it's really fun. I always love doing that. So that's what we're going to do today, and these are going to be Patreon exclusive. So if you're interested in submitting to the next contest and getting your model reviewed, my Patreon page, just literally patreon.com/Karasune, is linked in the description below if you want to check that out and join today, because I don't want this to be the last one. I definitely want to make this a regular thing where we have these community, smaller, more tight-knit, cozier community modeling contests. So that is the plan right now. Hello, Admiral. Welcome. Hello, Rab Luna. Welcome, Chris Connolly. 512 by 512 challenge when? Nah. Well, you could do a 512 challenge. That'd actually be pretty fun. I feel like 256 by 256 would be a little bit more challenging and interesting. But that is a fun idea, the 512 by 512 challenge. Hi, Sylvie. Hello. Welcome. Hello. All right. So we got a bunch of stuff to get through today. If we go to the threads tab here, we're going to see all the wonderful submissions you all had to this challenge. And the only other thing I want to quickly mention before we get into things here, because I'd like to get right into it today, is that my low poly character modeling course that teaches all the fundamental skills you need to make models just like the ones we're about to look over today. So that's things like character design, 3D modeling fundamentals, texture painting, UV unwrapping, rigging, so much more, and a lot of that is exclusive to the course, is going to increase in price on the 31st of this month. So now is the absolute best time to get it, which was also linked in the description below. So if you want to get that course, by all means, go check that out in the description below today, because that today is going to be the best value you're going to have on it before it increases in price by the end of this month. Because we had a huge milestone recently. I made a post about this, but I think it's worth going over again because I'm extremely proud and excited about this milestone we hit with the course, where it is now, if I can get the course page, we're now at a point where it has hit over 1,000 sales. It's almost at 1,100 sales even, which is just amazing. And I'm so proud that we have like a perfect 5-star review on it, and just overwhelmingly positive feedback, and that makes me very happy. So if you're interested in that, by all means, check that link in the description below. But without further ado, I think it's time to start looking at these low poly character models. When is the challenge gonna end? Am I able to make a submission for my character? So, Ryder, this challenge we're about to talk about today is already over. This was a Patreon exclusive challenge where we're going to do low poly character models with like a retro inspired theme. However, we're going to do a new challenge, again, exclusive to the Patreon. So if you want to join out the next one, make sure to join the Patreon, patreon.com/Karasune. If you want to join the next one, these are going to run for a month each. the deadline's going to be like 30 days-ish. You're going to have to create a model from scratch for the theme of the challenge. And for the theme of the next one, I'll probably actually have my patrons vote on it, so they can pick whatever theme they'd like out of like a selection of different themes. So it could be like, oh, maybe we'll do environments, or maybe we'll do like a Mega Man Legends inspired character, or like an N64 era inspired character, or some like specific theme like that. I think that'd be a lot of fun. Or maybe it's just a prop. Maybe it's not an environment or a character at all. That's probably the kind of themes we're going to explore in the future, whatever the community wants. I want it to be really driven by the patrons, because you all support me, and it's extremely, extremely helpful, and it's the least I could do. So yes, anyway, without further ado, let's get to the very first submission here, which is by Moxy Platinum, already 22 days ago. This is the first submission we had to the Retro Low Poly contest, and I will pause my music here because this has audio. That is so cute. Whoa! Whoa! That's so cool. Wait, let's watch it again. That's so neat, actually. I did look at this on my phone previously, but I have to say, like, the first time I saw this transformation sequence, it, like, blew my mind. It was like, whoa, that's crazy. Very, very cool stuff. Very, very cool stuff. And it looks like this might be inspired by a existing game series, actually, looking at the sprite work at the bottom here. Super, super cool stuff. Very, very cool. You can see all the triangle counts and the way the UVs are laid out. I love the colors here in general. Moxy Platinum stuff is so, so good. Very fun shading there as well. And what's nice about doing smaller contests like this is I can actually take a little bit of a breather when I'm talking about character models, go a little bit more depth, because I don't want to call it a problem, but that was definitely a part of doing the 1024 challenge, where we had such a mind-blowing amount of submissions, which is, you know, first world problems. Oh, my contest did so well, I can barely have time to review each submission. I know, but I'm really thankful it went that well. However, it's really nice to kind of just like take some time to look at these models. And I like the shading, very, very simple. And the facial expressions are super, super cute as well. It's a really nice model by Moxy Platinum there. The Guardian Legend for the NES. Oh, really? The Guardian Legend for the NES. I'm gonna Google this. Oh, interesting. See, that's so cool. What a fun use of the theme. I didn't even know this game existed. But that looks so, so cool. I love that. That is so cool. See, this is that's a great use of a retro theme. Like, let's make a low poly character inspired by a game that there's no way could even have any 3D elements. That's super fun. Awesome. That's a great submission there by Moxy Platinum. Very, very cool stuff. Also, when it comes to this contest, I'll be super upfront about this. I don't think I'm gonna decide winners. You're all winners in my mind. Like, it's just for fun and a chance to explore your work and show it off on stream. And we can learn from all the awesome stuff y'all do. So, super cool submission there by Moxy Platinum. Let's move on to the next submission here by Javi. Javi in the chat right now? They are! Hello, Javi. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Suffering from success. Awesome, working on my first low poly model. Heck yeah, Lua. Heck yeah. It's kind of like a shmup and Zelda-like hybrid. That is so cool. I've never even heard of that. That's awesome. Very, very cool. See, that's why this kind of a theme is so fun. Love that. Love that. So next up, this submission by Javi is the Headhunter Rabbit from Overlord. It literally appears for like 30 seconds in the show, but base design. Submission for the Patreon contest. Let's see. Oh, it's so cute. I love how absolutely ginormous their hands are. It's so cute. And the different facial expressions. I've watched Overlord. I'm not remembering this character at the top of my head. I'm Googling once again. Headhunter Rabbit from Overlord. Oh, wait, no, I do remember this character, because I have watched Overlord. Oh my god, they do have giant hands. No, this is ringing a bell now. I do remember them now. I love Overlord. It's such a fun anime. Wow, they even have like a full character turnaround sheet and everything. Super cute. What a fun character. And this is a great little low poly rendition of them. I love the maid outfit and everything too. Super cute. And the full environment, no less. And the rigged ears. Very cute. What a cute rendition of the character. I love how what are honestly kind of scary, like their original hands are kind of like a little like almost grotesque, but when you put them in the low poly style, they're kind of just like big mitts. It's very cute. Very cool. They come together a lot faster than high poly models for sure. Absolutely. Yeah. That's another reason why if I'm doing a Patreon contest, I might kind of stick to low poly stuff. But I mean, if people want to do sculpts and high poly stuff, that's awesome too. Like, I'm not against the idea. In fact, this is something I wanted to bring up at the beginning of the stream, but I forgot to, is that I am in the early stages of creating a high poly character right now, which is going to be basically technically my second high poly character, but my first anime like style high poly character, because my next big project for this channel that I'm really excited about is making a high poly, or at least medium poly, anime style character modeling tutorial series. Now, it's going to take a long time to get to that point. What my current plan is I'm going to make 2 to 3 anime style characters from scratch, just kind of fan art, and experimenting right now. I'll even show you a little preview of what I'm working on right now at the end of the stream, so make sure to stick around. But that is my current project right now. I'm planning on creating a high poly, or at least medium poly, anime style character modeling tutorial series, which is extremely ambitious because I do want it to be pretty close. It's going to be a little bit more intermediate than the low poly course, of course, because there's just a lot more going to be going on there. But that is my goal. I'm trying to make a new tutorial series on how to model anime style characters, which I'm really excited about. I hope you're all looking forward to it. And yeah, that's what I'm working on right now. And I'll show you a little bit of what I'm working on at the end of the stream. Because I am going to, before I make that tutorial series, I think it's really important for me to go through the entire process myself a few times to get an idea of what the workflows actually look like, what the mistakes I end up making, and how to get people to, how to make sure that like beginners or at least intermediate Blender users are avoiding those as well. So that's my current plan. I'll try to make a few character models, and I'll even make YouTube videos about this, just in the exact same style as my low poly modeling videos on like how to model Juliet, or how I modeled Juliet, and how I modeled Modius from Helltaker, all that stuff. That is my next project, my next big project. I hope you're looking forward to it. But in any case, that was a big tangent. This looks awesome, Javi. Very cool. Super cool stuff. And super cute. Awesome stuff. It makes me want a Overlord game. Like a low poly Overlord game would actually be like the coolest thing. That'd be so awesome. Hello, Dems. Welcome. Hello, chat. Hello, Non. Welcome. All right, so let's finally get to the next submission here by the Cameraman. Right here. And this one is probably one of the most unique submissions we got for this challenge. It's a low poly character with a very unique concept of being like trapped in a mirror realm who can only interact with the physical world using this armored body as a vessel. And this is, I have to say, this texturing style is super crazy unique. It actually definitely it's reminiscent of those PS2 style games, where they have these like really beautiful hand painted textures that are a lot more painterly style almost, if I had to describe it. Like, it's not super heavy on like line art, for example, kind of like a Mega Man Legends character would. And they even say here their sister helped make the concept art and character shade. And just look at it, this is incredible stuff. Like, oh my goodness, the rendering is so cool. And you even have all these different variations, like of hairstyle right there. Or maybe they're just ideations, but either way, super cool stuff. Like, look at that, oh my goodness. Beautiful stuff, and the texture just turned out fantastic. And you have their Instagram link there in the art portfolio if you want to check it out. But in any case, look at that. That is such an amazing turnaround shade. That's awesome stuff. Beautiful. And the texture just turned out fantastic. Look how clean those look. Super cool stuff. And then we actually have the low poly model here. Super cool. Look at how like few triangles is in that hair. That's so awesome. Super cool, but it feels so detailed, so much more detailed than this because of that really nice texturing. Super interesting texturing style that you see on the texture map. Super cool. Definitely reminds me of PS2 era games actually. And part of that is because it's so detailed that like it looks so much more high poly than it actually is. Super cool. Look at that face. That's so unique looking. I love the texturing here. Beautiful stuff. Because that's the thing about low poly. Like you carry, just textures just carry your low poly model so much. Like if you just look at your low poly model like this, it looks good. And it's nice, but like it's just so transformational when you actually get those textures on there and you really spend the time to make them look good like they do here. Super cool stuff. Very cool. Yeah, awesome submission here by the cameraman. Lovely stuff. Super cool. All right, super awesome submission here. Let's move on to the next submission right here by Dax. Is Dax in the chat today? I don't think they are at this moment. Hopefully they can see the VOD. But here is Dax's submission of Princess Clover. And as you can see here, we have this, again, I am like such a sucker for Dax's style, but man, oh my god, I love their use of colors and texturing here. And especially for this character, it's so like monochromatic. You only have like that one color used, that blue, and just different shades of it. Like it looks so clean. What an incredibly nice texturing style Dax landed on here. Super cool. Super cool stuff. And the use of hair cards on the hair here. We can see these very smooth pieces of hair that flow off of the hair in such a beautiful way that can only be made possible by using like a transparent image plane that the hair texture is like applied to like that. Maybe we can even see that in the wireframe. There is no wireframe, dang it. Maybe Dax could post that later. That'd be awesome. But, and again, this is all in like one texture map. Looks so good, so clean. I love like the little dimples on their face as well. All these like little texturing details in the face in general and how it was shaded. Looks so clean. Very cool stuff. And here's the actual turnaround drawings. Again, like these are super nice turnaround drawings. I get the question a lot in the YouTube comments, like I even got a comment about it today, as a matter of fact. Someone asking like, I have literally never drawn in my life. How do I do this like without drawing? Or like, do I need to learn how to draw to make characters and all that stuff? And my answer to that would be, no, you don't have to learn how to draw. But if you're, especially if you're like modeling an existing character, like with a turnaround sheet, like if you want to model, for example, like Panty Anarchy from Panty and Stocking, she already has a turnaround sheet, so you could just kind of yoink it from there and just make the texture from all that existing art. But if your goal is to make your own original characters like this, it really does help to learn texturing. Not only learn texturing, but also learn how to draw. Like, it's just the fastest way for if you're trying to learn how to character design. It's just the fastest way to learn that stuff. And there's a lot of really, really great resources on how to learn how to draw on YouTube. There's actually, I'm going to share this right now. This is actually in this server. I believe it pinned it. Yeah, right here. Right here. This was by Crispy Slime, I believe their name is. I'm hiding usernames right now because I'm streaming. But in any case, there are so many great YouTube channels for learning how to draw. I've seen this one before, Draw Like a Sir. Maybe I'll open it here. This is incredible. Really, really, really good YouTube channel for learning how to draw. Amazing, amazing stuff. I've also, Proko's a classic, really great for learning how to draw. As well as, I believe, I don't know if they're mentioned here, but the Love Life Drawing is another really good YouTube channel for learning how to draw. So that's what I'd say to that. Like, no, you don't have to learn how to draw to make 3D models, but it's so helpful if you are interested in character design specifically. But like, if you really want to do 3D, but you don't want to learn how to draw, you're like just not interested in it, that's fine. You can also do things like just 3D animation, which doesn't require the ability to draw. Again, it might help. You might be able to storyboard a little bit faster for drawing, but you don't have to. You really, really don't have to. So that's my little tangent. This submission by Dax is incredible. Oh, and we get the full turnaround right here. Awesome. And you can see by looking at these different strands of hair that they are just completely two-dimensional hair cards, but they add so much like little detail to the character design. It looks so nice. And I love these like little individual strands of white hair added just to add a little bit of like shading detail when it's something that's otherwise flat shaded. Very, very cool stuff. Super cute character, super cute proportions in general here. Awesome, awesome submission here by Dax in general. Super, super cute. I say hi back to your sister, the cameraman. Hello. All right, super awesome stuff by Dax here. Let's move on to the next submission by Zaz. So this is, according to Zaz, this is, and I quote, so last minute. And it is this. I was gonna explain what it is, but you can kind of just, you gotta just absorb this, you know, into your body. There's so much. Oh wow, does it? Wait, I just realized. Is there like a still frame? There is. That's actually really cute. I didn't even notice this until now. The fact that you have the amount of faces, verts, and edges on the model and like the quote-unquote nutritional facts end of it. That's actually really cute. I love that sass. That's awesome. That's so cute. I love that. That's so cute. And this is Yummy Drink 140 Red Cat, the Crash Edition. I love like the way this text is drawn right there, like the Crash text. That's super cute as well. The texturing is very fun on this. Let's see. Yeah, there's the model facts. This is extremely low poly, very low poly. That's like 524 triangles. That is nothing. That's probably half as many as the rest of the submissions we just looked at. That's crazy. Love that. I love the coloring here as well. And another thing we don't see too often, or I don't think we've seen in this contest so far, is like these really like pixelated style textures. Those are also super fun. I love that. And there's the actual texture map. Also, I guess fan art of the pink Red Bull. Oh, you know, I can see that. I didn't even notice. Oh yeah, there is like a cat design. Oh my god, that is really cool. I didn't even notice the cat design. I also love how this is rendered out like super chunky, low resolution. You can see like each individual pixel. That's really cool. I love that. And it says 2025 Zaz, help me at the back. The winner is detected. So true, Vex. So true, VA Fix. So true. We love the little details we do, the cameraman. Femboy juice. So true, JR. So delicious. So delicious. Oh, hello, Dax. Welcome, welcome. We literally just got done looking at your model, Dax. It's awesome. Super, super awesome stuff. We've all been doing the 1024 triangle challenge. This person is playing 4D chess already, winning the 524 triangle challenge. So true. Wouldn't you all be interested in that? I've thought about doing that. Maybe, actually, we might, I'll add that too, because I did say that this is going to just be one look, one contest theme, and I want to have multiple contest themes that patrons can vote on for the next one. I would love to do that, where it's a contest where you have to make a character model that's like extremely, extremely low poly, like 512 triangles or even like 256 triangles or less. I would love to do that. But I'll make sure to make it a vote so that the community can kind of decide what they would like to prefer. Super low poly challenge would be fun. Yeah, that would be super fun. Very cool stuff. But yeah, that is all of the different submissions we had for this very first contest. Again, if you'd like to get your model reviewed, make sure to join the Patreon page, which is linked in the description below, because we are going to have another one of these. We're going to be voting on the theme on it very soon, so if you want to get a chance at being a part of that contest, make sure to join the Patreon link in the description below. But thank you so much for everyone for their submissions. This wonderful retro low poly character, inspired by a NES game of all things by Moxy. Super cool stuff that can even transform. So awesome. This is why I love doing contests like this, because I never would have imagined that as a concept. So cool. And Javi's super cute submission from the Red Hunter Rabbit from Overlord. Love that. Super cool. As well as Cameraman's beautifully textured character model here and concepts. Just awesome stuff. Again, this is like almost like, this is PS2 level of texture detail. It's amazing stuff to work. To get this kind of result from these limitations is awesome and not easy. And finally, Zaz is awesome. Red Cat Can by Zaz. Super cool stuff. Especially, I can't get over like having the model facts as the nutritional info with the face verts and edges. That's so cute. I love that. Very cool. All right, so we're actually already through the models for this very first challenge. So I think we'll take a little. This is going to be a little bit of a shorter stream, but maybe we will work on my next project a little bit and talk about future plans, because as I mentioned earlier, for those who are just joining the stream now, my next big project for this YouTube channel, Crash Team Academy, that I'm really excited about exploring, is a character modeling or exploring anime style character models. So that's going to be things like high poly anime style character models, and making a full tutorial series in the style of the low poly character modeling tutorial series. Make a tutorial series where you model your own anime style characters and just learn all the fundamentals that go into that and how to make your own. We'll probably make a high poly love chan in that tutorial series. That's what I'd imagine. And maybe we'll even have a contest around that eventually. But yeah, so would you all like to start talking about that a little bit? And I can actually show you a little bit of a preview. The shorter stream than I was expecting. We're not done yet. No, we will be transitioning into the next section though. Yes, looking forward to it. All right, sweet. I've been super happy to see that people are looking forward to that new series. Very excited about that. Very cool. Yes. All right, let's do it. So, thank you all so much for your submissions here. I know this was pretty short, but this is the first time we've done a contest like this. It is supposed to be smaller, and these submissions are amazing. I definitely wanted to take time to highlight them on this stream because this is awesome stuff. Really nice models in general. So thank you all so much for your submissions. I hope you're looking forward to the next contest. You're all winners. This is awesome stuff. So let's start talking about the future and what I'm working on next. So as I've been, thinking about the idea of making high poly characters, I actually was struggling a bit as to what character to start with. But then my partner suggested that I model this character right here, and that's what I'm going to work on a little bit today and talk about. So this is the very, very beginning stages of this next project. I don't normally talk about these things this early on, but it's fun. So let's try it. Let's try a little experiment here. This is Bird Brain Teto. I'm going to be making this as my next character modeling project. It is not going to be a low poly model. This is going to be high poly. Maybe not extremely high poly. I shouldn't say high poly. More like medium poly. Like, it's not going to be perfectly smooth if you zoom all the way into it, but that's fine. It's going to be more like a game asset where there's going to be plenty of triangles on it and that stuff. But this is my plan. This is my reference on the side here. I'm a huge Jamie Page fan, and I'm a massive fan of Bird Brain. The music video is incredible. If you've not seen it yet, definitely go check it out. But yes, I've been super excited to work on this. The next steps now, and I think it'll be valuable to just explore doing a turnaround drawing on stream a little bit. So that's what we're gonna do next. We're gonna try to make a side view. I'm gonna talk about my process a little bit, and maybe we can start coloring it, if that sounds good to you all. Isn't that one of the Miku characters? Yes, Teto is a Vocaloid, just like Hatsune Miku, yep. All right, let's get started and talk about my process a little bit here. So as you can see, there's actually 2 layers right here. This is all new to me. I'm not saying this is the right way to do anything. Just full disclosure, this is my first time I've ever made a model like this. So I'm not gonna say this is the right way to do things. This is just I'm kind of like figuring this out for myself. Before I did any of this, I'll just hide all this real quick. I used this high poly base mesh as reference for proportions and kind of drew on top of it as I was blocking my character in. This base mesh is by a really, let's see if I can remember how to spell Kaoru Sakaki. Yes. This base mesh, I've talked about this a lot, but this base mesh is by Kaoru Sakaki, who is an incredibly talented sculptor, and they've even made many official like licensed anime character figures. Like, that's their job. And if we go to their, how do you get out of portfolio mode? Yeah, here we go. If you go to their store on ArtStation, you can like just download this base mesh. It's just really cool. And all I did was kind of take that base mesh. It's extremely high poly base mesh, by the way. This is not like this is not something you can kind of just load into Blender and expect to work super well. It is very high poly. But in any case, I use that as reference to kind of block this in, because making medium to higher poly anime characters compared to low poly is just an extremely different process. You aren't doing things like just making things piece by piece as needed. Typically, the process goes, you start by making something kind of like this, though not nearly as high poly if it's going to be like a rigged character. You make what's called a base mesh, and then after you make that base mesh, you're gonna end up with something that looks like this, where you don't have all these extraneous details like the hair or the ribbons or the clothes. It's just like the base part of the body that you start with. So that's gonna just be the face, the head, the eyes, the hands, the arms, torso, and the legs. It's not going to be the t-shirt, the shorts. All that stuff is kind of added on top. And that would be what I'm showing you right now if Photoshop wasn't a horrible program that liked to freeze on me exactly when I'm trying to explain a point. Hold on, I gotta restart this. Photoshop is so frustrating, I swear. All right, anyway, so you start with this base, right? when 3D modeling it and when drawing it, ideally, so you can get it kind of accurate to what your base mesh is going to look like when you're drawing your turnaround. So you start with this kind of base for your model. Then after that, you start modeling, or in our case here, drawing all the details on top. That's going to be things like her shorts, her socks, even her Crocs, her shirts, socks, and Crocs, t-shirt, hair, all that stuff. That goes on top of your base mesh. It's not like a low poly model where, like if we look at Ratsune here on the right, that is a model that has a face that's modeled, but there's no like base that they had underneath it. The hair is kind of just like modeled in using poly modeling with no like reference to the skull shape, like no direct reference usually, because that'd be precious wasted triangles. But in our case here, we can be a little bit more loose on that because it's not a low poly model. But knowing those low poly principles is helpful, and I think that starting with the low poly series, as so many of you watching this stream right now have, where you've learned how to make low poly characters and you've gone through that full process, then going into making high poly models is just a really helpful thing to do, because a huge problem with all character modeling is people just use way too many polygons and not necessarily in the right places. So knowing how to be restrictive about that and being careful and selective about polygon use, then going into making higher poly models is actually a very good fundamental skill to have. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm planning here. Would have either loved to see Bird Brain Teto or Static Miku in low poly 3D. It would actually be very fun to do a low poly Teto as well. I should preface this by I am definitely not done making low poly models, not even close. In fact, there's some projects I'm talking about right now behind the scenes that are absolutely going to be low poly based. This is just like a new direction for this channel for a bit, because low poly is awesome and it's really fun, but I want to, gotta explore some other things creatively sometimes as well, because I know a lot of people are interested not just in low poly, but also in how to make a higher poly, like anime style characters. I was working on a model last night and it was looking crazy, and I managed to reduce the faces significantly and liked it way more after. Absolutely, Valentina, that is a great point, and I'm really glad you brought that up. I would say it's actually very similar to drawing. There's an idea in drawing, especially for beginners that are learning drawing, and you're going to learn this if you go to those YouTube channels we talked about earlier in the stream, that are great like for learning how to draw. People tend to want to make their drawings better. I can even show you this right now. I have my stylus right here. People tend to make their drawings, they think that if they just add more detail to their drawings, like they just do a bunch of individual strokes like this to do shaded details or to like really define a certain part of the drawing, that's going to make it, quote unquote better. And it's the same with a low poly model. People think, oh, if I have like more loop cuts in my chest and the shape is more accurate to my turnaround drawing and it's just going to be so much more detailed and therefore better. People think that more detail is equal better, but that is often not the case. You should use detail in a way that's kind of like drawing attention to things you want your viewers to look to, like the face, for example. But you should use it sparingly, and just like in drawing, how more strokes on your paper doesn't equal a better drawing, in modeling, more loop cuts and more polygons does not equal a better model. Like, for example, this is a perfect example. The model by Cameraman here, this is 1024 triangles. Look how incredibly few triangles there are in the hair here. This is like 2 triangles right here and here. But this still looks beautiful and super detailed because they're saving all that detail for the texture. So yeah, that's a bit of a tangent, but I just wanted to get that point across. It's not about poly count. So I say all that so that people understand, like, if you're going into this upcoming tutorial series on modeling anime style characters with the basis of knowing how to and really understanding how to model low poly characters, it's just gonna be helpful. You're gonna make much more appealing characters and lower poly characters in general. the low poly arc is over, guys. Not quite. It's really not, and I'm going to stress that it's definitely not over yet. But in any case, let's actually get to work here. So let's start. I actually have, if we hide this here, it's a reference. I actually still have a side view and back view I'm thinking about drawing. I don't know if I need a back view. I probably don't for this model. No, I should. Because this is like the first time I'm going to be making like a high poly anime style character like this. I should really like put in the upfront effort required to make that look good, honestly. So I'll probably do that. I'll probably do a back view. I talk about this in my premium low poly course, which is increasing in price on the 31st of August. So make sure to click that link in the description. Get the best value on it today. But talk about this in that course, I believe. But when you're drawing a turnaround drawing, to make a back view really quickly, it's actually super easy because I can just, for example, duplicate my lines right here and just, obviously you don't normally have like this reference here. So I can just duplicate my reference like this. And I actually do have to make my canvas bigger now that I'm thinking about it. So let's make room for my back view, front view, and side view. So I'll put my back view over there. My tentative back view, it's not a back view yet. Let's move the side view like right here. It's gonna be a pretty big turnaround drawing, but that's fine. Move that right here. And just resize my canvas again to be like that. All right. So what's a really cool trick that you can do to make a front view, a back view very easily is you just take your front view as is, you duplicate it to the side, then, should I combine these? I won't for now. And then you can just erase the interior details, and I'll do this on a clipping last so I can go back if I want to. So then you just erase the interior details of your front view. Kind of like this. In fact, I'm going to save myself a bunch of time now that I think about it by turning on symmetry as well. And I get a lot of questions about how to draw turnaround drawing, so I'm glad we get to do this on stream. Let's put that right in the center. Then you'll erase away these interior details. So this would be opposite on this side. So I can, knowing that, I can like just erase away this part. Now I have to do this on the copy to the red layer. I think it'd look like that on this side. Yeah, it would. It would. Kind of like hurts your brain to think about it a little bit, but it's useful. It's useful to do this. I'll actually draw that in, and then make sure it's on my clipping mask. This is not the most efficient way of doing this, but whatever. All right. And I'm gonna go back to my blue layer. Again, just erase away interior details. Like this, because this is now a back view. I know that's gonna look a little bit differently. For example, people have butts on the back of their body, not the front of their body. So, knowing that, I can be on the right layer. Then, I can just do something like... Yeah, this clipping mask idea was not good. I'm just gonna apply that, actually. Oops. Apply layer mask. There we go. All right. And this is gonna be super rough because I'm doing this live and I'm not looking at reference, but you know, it's just gonna look different from the back view than it did this from the front view. Obviously you wouldn't have a belly button. So again, you're kind of just erasing interior details. And I'll also apply this layer mask for simplicity's sake. And because it's a back view, I know that the t-shirt won't wrap around the body like that. It'll kind of wrap around the body. You can just intuitively know that it'll wrap around the body kind of like this. And you wouldn't have lines like this on the back view either. I can just erase those. And obviously, if this is a back view, you're not going to see the front of the Crocs like this. So I can just start by erasing all of that, like so. And the back view of the shorts would look differently. Actually, to get a better idea what that would look like, I'm going to open my reference document because I'm not actually entirely sure. So another thing I do with all of my projects, my modeling projects, is I will get a ton of reference of the character before I even start modeling them. I talked about this in an upcoming video I'm working on, because I'm actually working on a video right now that's like designed for beginner and intermediate Blender users in order to just save them like a ton of time and headaches. That's like the entire purpose of the video, is just to save people a ton of time and headaches through different modeling techniques and advice that was gathered in our Discord server by some really talented Blender artists. And one of the things we talk about is just, if you plan out a 3D model for 5 to 10 minutes before you actually start modeling it, it's going to save you so much time. It's going to save you hours of time. That 5 to 10 minutes will save you hours and hours of time. So I say that because including gathering reference into your planning process of making a 3D model, it's going to save you so much time. Even if it's not fan art, even if you're making an original character, it saves you so much time. Even if you're not gathering reference, you're just taking little notes. But because I now have this reference, I can do this and see that, oh, the back of the shorts kind of look like that. And I can directly bring that into my turnaround drawing, if I would so desire, by erasing away lines like this. And what's great about this Teto bird brain reference that I have is that, when should this connect together? Like, actually, I'll keep that for reference. What's great about using bird brain Teto is that this animation was done completely in 2D, so they had to simplify things a lot, which makes our lives in 3D modeling land a lot easier, because it's not the most complicated design in the world, to say the least, which makes my life so much easier. And I'm keeping these details that are under the shorts, like right here, because I have to model that base to make this model right here of the base mesh before I add things like the shorts to this. But what's really nice, that sounds inefficient and annoying. It's like, well, if you're never going to see this part of the body, why would you model it? And the reason you want to do that is when you're done modeling this base mesh, you can reuse it forever for any other character you make. So that's kind of why you would want to do that. So I can see the shorts kind of end like this in the back view. It's pretty fun. But obviously this is the back view. You would not see their face, and it's kind of wigging me out. So I'm going to erase those details because this is a back view. You would see their twin tails. They'd look about the same in the back view as they do in the front view, but you wouldn't see this part of the hair, of course, though you would see this part of it. You wouldn't see this part either, so we can erase that, other than the parts that would kind of pop up like that. Make sure we get rid of all of these. Now, do I have back view Teto hair reference? Kind of, right there. It's a pretty awful reference. I could have did better, but we'll make it work. So, looking at that, it looks like her hairline is not symmetrical, so I'm actually going to turn off symmetry for this part. I do want to enable symmetry as much as I can, but, you know, there's just certain cases where you don't want that. Actually, I will turn on symmetry for this part, because the neck doesn't connect to the head like that from the back view. It's more like, I don't know, if I had to guess, something like that, but we don't even need to draw it, honestly. That's fine. So let's go back to our red layer and turn off symmetry and get sketching here. So I'm going to try just roughing this in really quick. Thank you, Persona OST. I know you got my back. YouTuber YouTubers when they need to make a video but have copyright-free music be like. Alright, so I think her hairline is going to look something like that. Again, this is a rough first pass. I need better reference for this specifically. And it's actually very useful to have 3D reference when you're doing this part of the process of planning, because you could just look at someone else's interpretation and be like, how did they model the back of the hair on their Teto? Because there's plenty of Teto 3D models that are already out there, believe me. So that would be very helpful in our case here. I'm actually using the wrong brush right now. I like to use the Mark Brunette Legendary brush, which is completely free to download, by the way. Mark Brunette's brushes are really, really nice. All right, that looks pretty not great, but it's a work in progress. Again, definitely try to have better references than me. I'm kind of just doing this live. Unplanned. Raw dogging life. And maybe we could do something like this where it's like, or maybe we won't do this, who knows. But yeah, let's just get the rough version of this back view. And as you can already see, this kind of looks like a back view already. And we didn't have to draw any of this by hand. We just duplicated our front view and turned it into a back view super quickly. Which is like definitely one of my favorite modeling techniques. It's so useful. And in this back view, the ears would be going in front of the hair. In our case here, be something like that. Maybe you can even like do a subtle indication of like the, I don't remember what this part of the ear is called. My anatomy's not that good. That part, the part of the ear. This song is also super good. Absolutely. Cameraman, absolutely. We love the Persona OST. Low poly is out, hyper-realism is on the block. Yeah, hyper-realistic bird brain Teto. Visible skin pores when you zoom in enough. I have a feeling I shouldn't have tried baggy trousers on the second model I've ever done, because it's so hard to make it look decent while still being baggy. Well, Valentina, it is hard, especially in low poly. I will say, yeah, that is actually quite difficult. But I mean, it's probably it's not too hard, and especially for your second model, I think that's fine. Even if it doesn't go well, I think that's great when you're like learning low poly modeling in general, because it helps you learn either way, you know. So I don't think there's anything wrong with that at all. I'm looking at this back view though. This is the back view. This part should have actually be flipped to the other side if my gut instinct on this is correct, so I should probably mirror that. Let's select all of that part in the red part of our drawing, right? If I was in a back view in Blender, yeah, this would be on the left side. Yeah, this definitely needs to get flipped. Flip horizontal. Beautiful. Beautiful. And that's the wrong color. I like to color these layers, but this is my first time doing it. I'm not saying like that's the best right way to do it. It's just like it helps me. Because I like thinking about the difference between my base mesh and the things that are going on top of my base mesh, essentially. And this would definitely curve in a different way, non-symmetrically. On the back side of the t-shirt, this like tied part of the shirt. I love Teto so much because she's like, how do I describe this? She's like Miku's like the perfect ideal body type, like, sister, and Teto's like the girl failure, super cringe, trying her best but just can't quite amount to what Miku is. And I love it. I love her so much. We love Teto. I love the fat Teto plush too. She got a fat dumpy. That shit's awesome. We love Teto. I actually don't have a Teto figure now that I think about it. I have like a billion Miku figures on the shelf behind me. I have a Mako figure. I have a Rin. I have a Len. I even have a Kaito, but I don't have a Teto. It's kind of messed up. I should. They even made a pop-up parade Teto, right? I'm googling this. Pop-up parade Teto. They did. Oh, it's so cute. I want to make a poor financial decision so bad now. Look how cute it is. It's so cute. We love Teto. Love Teto. That's another character I'd really love to 3D model, because she's kind of like what got me into all this stuff in the first place, would be Miku. I think a Miku model, either in high poly or low poly, is just an inevitability at this point. It's a matter of when, not if. It's like something you gotta do eventually, right? She's what got me into this in the first place. This is her fault. I blame Hatsune Miku for everything. Are you making Bird Brain Teto? I am dealing. I am. Seems like having a solid silhouette is important. Absolutely. That's important. That's even more important for low poly. Because, you know, they're so chunky and there's so little geometry to work with. But especially in high poly as well. Absolutely. It's super important. But yeah, this is looking like a semi-convincing back view. So, I'm going to duplicate this kind of like fill layer I already have. Just scooch it on over for my back view. And I can already see there's some fixes I should do. I'll put this above. These layers are not clean and not organized. Please ignore them. But I can tell that there's some errors in this because I had to flip some stuff. In fact, I probably should have just flipped it at the beginning of this process, but whatever. But thankfully, because that fill layer was already made for the front view, I really don't have to change much for the side view. It's pretty cool. But yeah, for those who are just joining, yes, I am making Bird Brain Teto, my first ever high poly anime style character model. I am just in the planning stages right now, though. This is very, very early days. Now I have to do the part that everyone hates to do, that is quite difficult, which is the side view. But thankfully, I have really great reference, because in the animation, she goes to an almost perfect side view. But I am lazy, so I'm gonna flip this, if I remember how. Yes, I love PureRef. If y'all don't know what PureRef is, it's amazing. It's completely free to download. This is the best reference application in the world. I know, it sounds like a headache. Like, I don't want to learn another piece of software. It's worth it. I promise you. It's completely free to download. Go download PureRef. It's awesome. PureRef is super, super cool. Right here. So, I'm looking at my side view here. Yep. That's Bird Brain Teto. So, in order to make my life easier, I'll probably do a first sketch just on top of this base mesh that I already have. And make my life a little bit easier. But if you all have any questions at all, please put them in the chat. That is what I'm here for. I have a bald, armless Miku figure. Oh my god, Pigeon, what did you do to her? Don't torture Miku Hatsune, please. I really like the song Bird Brain. Hell yeah. Bird Brain's so good. Bird Brain is awesome. The entire time I've been modeling this off stream, I've been listening to Bird Brain like on loop. Bird Brain and Cadmium Colors, I believe it's called. And Machine Love. I love Jamie Page so much. Of course, Sylvie, you're welcome. I just started using PureRef this year and it's made my life easier. Heck yeah, Dax, that's awesome. PureRef is fantastic. Alright, let's try to sketch in the side view though. So, I'll do here. Again, I'm drawing in blue. I'm gonna draw kind of big. And I'm gonna start by just kind of sketching on top of this. This is just going to be a first pass. I am not going to stick exactly to what I'm doing here. And again, we're only drawing this under part because we're going to have to model this. And we'll be able to reuse it for other models, even though there's going to be certain parts of this base mesh that are not actually going to be visible in our final model. So I'm probably just going to do this first sketch pass and then kind of just hide the reference from there, honestly. It's not helpful after a certain point. But it's really nice to have a reference like this that's kind of close to the proportions you want to have and kind of stylized. Because if it's like super realistic reference, it can often just be like not exactly what I'm looking for. It can just be pretty distracting. And I'm kind of just x-raying through where I think this is, because the arm is getting in the way. That's something I'm not looking forward to on this model, is modeling the hands. Gonna have to figure that out. Modeling hands is a pain in the neck. Will this be on the test? Yes. I hope you're taking notes, Az. It's gonna be more comfortable because my way of working with refs is too disorganized. Yeah, like for me, I like to just go to like Pinterest or Google and save a bunch of references to like a folder on my computer. Then after I make that folder, I will also make a PureRef document and throw all of those images in there. And what's awesome about PureRef is this is an infinite canvas. I can put whatever I want in here and I'll just like know what to do with it. And not only that, I can organize things. I can click on these things and scale them up and down. I can move them around and I can press Ctrl+N to make a note. So if I'm like, oh, I want this to be, I don't know, less than 5,000 triangles, I can write like 5,000 triangle budget or something like that. Maybe a client told me that, just for example, I don't know. And I can make it any color I want, and I can just put it wherever I want, scale it however I want, use any font I want. It's just so useful, and it even supports like animated GIFs. You'd think they'd be paying me to say this, but no. It's totally free program, so I'd highly, highly recommend it. Just like Blender, it's just like something so useful. Like once you get used to using it, you'll never go back. Really, really helpful for just making stuff. Her clothes color palette reminds me of Ronald McDonald's. I was just in a call with someone who didn't know, my friend who didn't know who Birdbrain Teto was, and they Googled her and they're like, oh, so it's like the McDonald's Teto. I love the idea of her being like McDonald's Teto. That's pretty awesome. All right, so that probably is good enough of a sketch of these base parts for the side view. I'll add like little stuff right here in case I at all find that useful later on. In this case, it's better to just have a little bit too much detail than none at all. All right. And the music video for Birdbrain is just so beautiful. It's so good. I love that 2D animation. I followed that person's channel. I unfortunately am not remembering their name at the top of my head. I'm so sorry. But animation is just beautiful, beautiful, beautiful stuff. Some of the best 2D animation I've seen in a music video in a really, really long time. All their stuff is like that too. It's awesome, awesome, awesome stuff. All right. I'm gonna hide this side view and see if that's good enough for our purposes here now. It is, though the proportions are wrong. There's another really important thing to keep in mind. I'm actually gonna make this way, way smaller. Get more room for Photoshop here. But another really important thing to keep in mind when you're doing this stuff is, do these things actually line up? Because, for example, let me put that back. If like the chin doesn't line up here, which it absolutely does not right now, and then you get into 3D modeling this, it's gonna be a huge, huge pain to try to fix that. So let's try to rescale this a bit. I'm gonna just move this around. Let's actually, yeah, let's just, if I do this, is that going to, no, it's not. All right. So in that case, I'm going to just box select, kind of just fix stuff manually-ish. So I can see that this line is where the bottom of the chin should be. Let's scale this up. So I'll scale to the side because it looks really weird if you just scale it up like that. You can see the top of the head is like just under this other blue line. So it should be kind of like that. Her bottom of her nose is right here, which is pretty accurate. That's probably close enough to what we need here. This jaw looks weird though, and I don't like it. I'm gonna do this. And these are very idealized proportions, so you want to change things a little bit. That's totally fine. It's just a reference. You want to kind of discard it as soon as possible anyway, because you're kind of making your own thing. Just to get a first pass in there quickly. Like so. Alright, now let's keep measuring stuff to see if they're lining up. The Tetos are lining up. Okay, sweet. Is the neck lining up? Not really, so I'll change that slightly. This doesn't need to be perfect. Like, you'll get into 3D and there's gonna be things that are wrong, like always. At least in my case, I can never get it quite perfect in this kind of planning stage, but that's fine. It doesn't matter. This is mostly lining up. This is mostly, I think that's fine, yeah. Also lining up, it's also lining up. Sweet. I'll probably like thicken her up a little bit because this seems way too skinny for Teto. Or maybe it's all like the art of her eating bread on Twitter and being fat is like just brainwashing me, I don't know. But in my mind, this is not canon Teto proportions. I need to make her fatter. We love fat Teto / positive. It's kind of hard to preview what I'm doing here. Kind of just doing this. Making her a little bit thicker, more meat on her bones. This neck feels incredibly small to me. Feels a little better. Because again, it's just a reference, what we're going off of. We want to change it. You don't want to just blindly listen to whatever it told us to do. She needs a sponsorship for a discount item on the value menu. It's an important part of her diet. So true, the cameraman. So true. Absolutely. I had to finish my model while the character sheet was working on it. I had to improvise. Yeah, absolutely. Your character sheet does not need to be perfect at all. All right. So, that's pretty good. Now, because we have this side view of Teto right here, can I use it as reference a little bit? And again, if you're kind of confused, you jumped into the stream, you're like, well, this is not retro low poly characters. We did that earlier in the stream. Right now, we're making a high poly turnaround drawing right now because I'm planning on making a high poly tutorial series. But before I do that, I'm going to make 2 to 3 high poly character models, kind of in that style, just so I can get the hang of things before I like teach people how to do it because I've not done it myself yet. So another thing, I want to like clear all these guides I have. These are way too much and distracting because now I want to actually add the hair to Teto and the clothes to Teto. So we have this base body sketch and now I actually want to add the clothes to her. So I'm going to go to rulers, guides, clear guides. There's not a hotkey for that. So now I'm going to drag down some new guides. One for where her shorts end, one for the top of her shorts right here. Also, I want to ask something in the chat today because I know a lot of you use Discord. Did anyone have like crazy lag issues in Discord last night? Like you'd say something and there'd be like multiple seconds of delay or people would cut out. Like let me know in the chat right now if you did, because we had that really, really bad, me and my friends last night. And I'm super curious if that was like a global Discord thing or just like the server we were in. I don't know. Though my friend Sylvie did say they're having a different server, so it probably was like a global thing, but I'm super curious if anyone else had that problem. Will Astolfo be one of the characters? I would love to do that, actually. Did the model reviewing already happen? It did, Umbrella Fufu. But you can, they will be on the VOD. So if you want to go back and review all the models, don't worry. When the stream is over, this will be saved as a VOD. You can review all of it, for sure. But to answer your question, Prime Master 03, I would love to model a high poly Astolfo. I would absolutely love to do that. So fingers crossed, no promises, but I would love to do that. That'd be so fun. Do you have large spirit in drawing those concept art for modeling? Yes, this is something that I've done before. We did this in college for a character design class. So I do have some experience, but I will say this is hard stuff. Speaking of the stream having a VOD, we just went over this earlier. Maybe I still have it open. It's right here. But if you want to learn how to do drawing stuff, these channels like Draw Like a Sir, Proco, Mark Brunette are extremely helpful. And specifically, if you want to learn how to draw turnaround drawings, I just recommended this to someone because it's really, really good. There's a video I would highly recommend. It's even in my history. This one right here by Joshua. I'm not sure how to pronounce your last name, Joshua. I'm so sorry. But check this video out if you want to learn how to draw turnarounds, character turnarounds. Extremely helpful video. Very, very helpful video. I hope that is helpful. Discord was fine for me, maybe. Didn't have Discord lag yesterday. Nah, but Discord likes to randomly disconnect people and reconnect them. Interesting. Huh. Yes, I had a ton of lag in VC last night with 2 of my friends. Interesting. Thanks for letting me know. Interesting. I wonder what happened. Because it was really, really bad last night. I don't know why. It was really, really bad. All right, so now that we know where the clothes kind of start and end here, because we have these guides, you can kind of just drag down. I can see the Crocs end here, the shorts end here, all that stuff. I can kind of just draw those onto our base body here. I will do that. And if I'm ever wondering what that side view looks like, I got reference of my side view right here in Pure Rough, which makes my life a lot easier. I feel like I should make this curved, at least for the side view. The shorts. They're not complicated. They're really not, but I think it'd be something like that. Then you'd have the other line right here, which would also be curved. These are wrapping around a curved part of their body. Unlike a low poly model, this isn't going to be perfectly flat. That's something I want to keep in mind. Honestly, that's good enough for now. So let's get the striped socks. I don't know what these are. They might be thigh highs. They also might just be striped pants. We can't really see the top of them. Let's just draw those in. Right here. One right here. One right here. One right here. Right here. Here. Turnarounds are such a pain. They are. Turnarounds are really, really difficult. I don't want to like beat around the bush. They're hard. They are not easy to make. Even for someone who likes drawing, has been doing it for years, they're still really challenging. But the good news is, even if your turnaround isn't great and you're not happy with it, it still saves you so much time in your 3D modeling stuff. So even if you just like kind of throw something out there that's not super great, or doesn't even seem like it'd be that useful, it does save you so much time in planning. So it's still completely worth it. Even if it's not exactly what you wanted it to be at all, I still think it's totally worth it, in my opinion. I don't know what Crocs look like from the side. So I think I should actually Google that. Crocs side. Let's see. That's what Crocs look like from the side view. Copy that. I love that she's wearing Crocs here as well. It's so funny. All right, good enough. Sorry, stream, you're not going to see this Croc side view. You're just going to have to see my drawing. But it's something like this. And again, something I think a lot of, even myself, I struggle with is like, this is supposed to be a first pass. Like, do not try to get this perfectly perfect. Like, you can just get the rough sketch out there, and then you can refine it when you're done. It makes your life a lot easier to just get something rough out there before you really start like finalizing some final lines on it. I'm trying to draw a little bit more light than I am here, honestly. This is not an ideal. It's kind of what works for me right now, so I'm kind of just rolling with it. This foot is bending way too high up, I'm noticing. Or like it feels like it's way too big to me, so I'll probably change that as well. The proportions here are not right. Like this is like on the same level as this lip. It's just absolutely not in my drawing. Did that not work? Weird. All right. Transform this a little bit. It's not matching my base drawing, but that foot just feels a little too big to me. It does not feel correct. I'll just change that real quick when I get going here. Then because these socks are like on the body, I'll try to just kind of roughly sketch the outline of them on top of my blue layer for the base mesh. These are super rough lines, so that's fine. God, these crops look so wrong. That's fine though, they don't need to be perfect right now. I see like there's even a lip in the middle here that I didn't even draw yet. This is probably going to be one of the hardest things to model, these Crocs, because one of the hardest things to model in 3D modeling are like tiny holes in a model like that. That's really difficult. I'm definitely going to have to like Boolean that or something similar. It still feels a little too small to me, though. Something a little bit more thicker. Something like that. We don't need to get that perfect right now. Just trying to get a first base pass in. Let's close up the Crocs and look back at Teto. I just want to mention that your tutorial on the eye control helps a lot for my characters. Thank you a lot for that, man. Thank you, Ryder. Appreciate it. Glad it was helpful. Is there a Crash low poly Discord server? Yes, there is a low poly only, like low poly specific Discord server for people who buy the course. So we do have a Patreon exclusive server, but we also have one for the low poly course. That's just one of the nice benefits of buying the course is not only do you get a bunch of exclusive videos and content talking about things like character design, texture painting, and drawing turnarounds like we are right here, but there's also like a exclusive Discord server so people can troubleshoot problems and stuff a little bit more easily than just like needing to email me or something like that. So yes, there is a low poly specific Crash Discord server. Yep. If people want to buy that course, it increases on price on August 31st, so make sure to get that today if you are interested. So now I just want to draw in this shirt, and it's pretty big and baggy. You can see by looking at our reference on the right here. Just kind of want to get above Teto here. And it's actually, now that I'm looking at it, kind of goes over the shorts a little bit, at least in this frame. And again, this is my first sketch pass. It does not need to be perfect. I like rotating my canvas a lot because it makes my life easier. And I can imagine this shirt probably just ends like this on the side view, even though I can't see it through the hand there, or the arm there necessarily. All right. That's looking okay. It might need to be a little bit thicker down here. Again, this is not going to be like shrink wrap to their body. It's a very baggy t-shirt, so I shouldn't draw it like it is. In fact, I might need a bit more outward here even. It's looking pretty all right. Would it be viable to make turnaround drawings with a mouse? Absolutely. Ultra Combo, you absolutely can make a turnaround drawing with a mouse. I say that so confidently because my friend, who's actually in the chat right now, Sylvie, I think for years of their life would make these unbelievably beautiful, like much more beautiful than my drawings, these unbelievably beautiful sketches completely using, they'd be using a drawing program, but they'd be completely using their mouse, which is like, that's crazy. So after seeing that, I think you can do anything digital art related with a mouse and get away with it just fine. Ideally, yes, you use a tablet, and I'm sure even Sylvie would say it's better with a tablet. But if you don't have one, don't worry about it. You can use a mouse. It just might like, you're just gonna have a different workflow. It's gonna be different, and it might take longer. But it is absolutely possible. Definitely doable. Hi Crash, do you do commissions at all? I do, occasionally. It depends on my availability a lot, but I do low poly 3D character model submissions and other animation commissions, depending on my availability. If anyone wants to email me about that kind of stuff, it's crashune@gmail.com. That is the place you would ask questions like that. Sometimes I get asked questions about commissions in like Twitter and Instagram DMs, and it's really hard for me to even see those, let alone respond to them. So it's crashune@gmail.com for business stuff. All right, so that's a very rough first pass of this side view here. Now we get to the hard part, which is trying to get that hair in. But I will say it's not that difficult. In fact, again, her hair, it's kind of like a perfectly like round form. So I think I'm gonna cheese this a little bit. I'm gonna cheese this just a little bit. And use this instead of just drawing this by hand and trying to get all the proportions like perfectly correct. I'm just gonna duplicate it and move it over. And because it's a side view, it's probably not as big. It's probably a little less wide. Yeah, there Sylvie goes. They even mentioned that they used to draw with a mouse for many years ago before trying tablet. Absolutely true. All right, so now I want to combine these layers together. Thanks for joining the stream, everyone. I know this is not exactly what some of you expected, but it's chill, and I appreciate you all hanging out. That's a really great question, Hyper. How did using Blender on the Steam Deck go? So, first of all, Linux is awesome. I love Linux. I wish I didn't rely upon Windows for my entire workflow right now. Like so many of the programs I use, like Premiere and Google Drive, they're just not on Linux. So switching over is not really super viable, unfortunately. Like so many programs I use are just EXEs, you know, unfortunately. But I love Linux, and that's a great part of using Blender and the Steam Deck, so you get a wonderful, wonderful experience using Linux. It's just so much better than Windows in so many ways. So that's great. The only downsides of using Blender on the Steam Deck is it's just so small that you could do some light modeling work, I think, and texture painting stuff on the screen itself, but you'd ideally be using an external display anyway, which is fine. But yeah, and the other thing about using Blender on the Steam Deck is there's no way I could ever use the actual Steam Deck controller for using Blender. I have to use a wireless mouse and keyboard, which I just plug directly into the Steam Deck portably, using its the cable at the top. There's like a port for USB-C. I just have a converter from USB-C to USB-A. Then I plug a wireless mouse and keyboard in, and it works perfectly. But that being said, the performance on the Steam Deck is pretty good. Like, if you just want something to play games with and use Blender on, I think you actually could use a Steam Deck perfectly fine. In fact, there's at least one person who said they followed my entire low poly modeling tutorial series using just a Steam Deck. So there's nothing wrong with it. It's just a laptop in the form factor of a handheld PC, the Steam Deck, that runs on Linux. So if you're good, if you understand how Linux works and you're comfortable with it, oh my god, I just realized we already have reference for side view croc right here. That would have saved me so much time. Anyway, yeah, I think the Steam Deck is a really, really great way to use Blender. Just know that you might have to use an external display, and that I don't think it's usable just using like the Steam Deck controller. You could be a mad lad and do that. It's possible, but I feel like that's a crazy, crazy undertaking that you'd never be quite happy with. Or it'd be like so much work to get used to using like an actual normal Blender. It's like, nah, I wouldn't do that personally. I would just use a wireless mouse and keyboard for that. But it's viable. You can absolutely use Blender on a Steam Deck. I installed it using Steam, and it runs perfectly in desktop mode as well as in gaming mode using a mouse and keyboard. It's pretty sweet. That's also true, very true, Umbrella Fufu. Like if you're going to use something like Photoshop or Clip Studio Paint to make a low poly model, but you don't know how to draw, just use the line tool. It's so helpful. That's because a line tool, it's literally called in Photoshop the polygonal lasso tool, which means like every time you click it locks in straight lines like this, polygonal lines, which is perfect for low poly modeling. And you don't need to know how to draw to do that. And you can just use like the paint bucket tool to like fill this in whenever you need to paint it. So you definitely don't need to know how to draw to make a turnaround drawing, or you don't need a graphics tablet either. There's ways around it, and you won't get as much carpal tunnel with something like the line tool for sure. Happy to be here. I have you on my other monitor. We'll work on something special. Yay, Sylvie. Awesome. Thanks, you make me feel like my dreams are achievable. That's very sweet. Thank you so much. Jaboku? Is that how you say your name? I'm so sorry, mispronouncing that. That is very sweet. Thank you. Yeah, that's kind of... I really want to like emphasize that to people like in my 3D tutorials in general. Is like, this stuff is not impossible. You could learn how to 3D model. It's not magic. It just requires a lot of trial and error. No matter what you want to make, no matter what you want to animate, no matter what you want to model. And I was also talking about this recently with a friend of mine. Actually, gonna have some water before I get to do this. delicious. And a cough drop. But I was just talking about this with a friend of mine. Like, for my tutorial series in general, I really like to focus on the art side of Blender first and foremost, and the 3D modeling like tools and techniques second most, because how do I say this? There's a lot of Blender channels that really focus on the technical stuff, like how you can use AI to speed up your workflow, and how you can like all the different modifiers and tricks and techniques you can use to really like, speed things up. And for me, I really don't care about that. For me, Blender is like a fun hobby, and I want other people to enjoy this fun hobby the same way I do. But learning how to get into it, learning how to make low poly models or character models in general is really hard. That's not easy. So just lowering the barrier to entry however I can, like that's really the goal of this channel, my Patreon, having the course to support this channel. All that stuff goes into like the idea of making this more accessible to more people, and less incredibly intimidating, because 3D is not magic. It's really, really not. As soon as you understand the fundamentals, you can make just about anything and animate just about anything. Because that was so hard about getting into 3D modeling for me when I was starting out, is like, it just felt impossible. Like the resources were not there the way they are today at all. So it was so hard. So whenever I hear comments like that, that makes me super happy. I feel like I'm moving in the right direction, for sure. Speaking of portable Blender, any thoughts on the Blender getting a mobile version soon for iPad? Yes. I'm really excited for that. Anything that gets more people like the ability to use Blender is a very good thing for everybody. Everyone benefits from that, right? So that makes me super happy. I am psyched about that. And I think in particular, like Apple's iPads have like a really nice pen. You can do some like awesome drawing and painting stuff on iPads using Procreate. So the idea, and even Photoshop on iPad. So the idea of using Blender on that same thing as well, which is completely portable and extremely power efficient, that's very exciting. I'm really excited about that. I even like retweeted it on Twitter, because that's a really awesome development for everybody. Because I get a lot of comments under my videos of people asking like, I want to use Blender, but my laptop doesn't run it, or they don't even have a laptop, they just have a phone. They ask me if it runs on mobile, and it's like, unfortunately it doesn't. So just getting it on more platforms is always a good thing. Always a good thing, for sure. Welcome back, Javi. You got this idea, high poly, Steam Deck only with one hand tied. So true. It's a great idea, actually. Is this lining up? It is. This one is definitely not. So I'm going to use more guides here to get an idea of where this hair should begin and end. Using my reference on the right here a lot as well. I'm surprised the stream is still going. Yeah, I when I get into it, I get into it. It's hard for me to stop. I love my job. The fact that I can like do this full time is just absolutely amazing. I made a community post about it, but yeah, it's just, I love this stuff. It's seriously like hard for me to pull myself away from it. Are you making Jamie Page fan art? Yes, I'm making fan art of Bird Brain Teto. This is gonna be my first high poly model ever, or at least anime style high poly model. I have made high poly models, but it's my first anime style high poly character model, and I'm making this in order that I can make a high poly character modeling tutorial series, which I'm really, really excited about. So stay tuned for more updates to that. I've been using Autodesk for a while now, and my god, it's so different. It absolutely is Umbrella, yeah. Because I started 3D modeling using Maya, and it's just very different to Blender. But I think it is helpful knowing those skills before Blender. It really is. Da, 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 da. That's looking pretty okay. I'm considering trying the method on Maya. Yeah, that's something I try to communicate in my tutorials a little bit, but I don't do a great job of. Like, everything I'm teaching you in my videos is kind of software agnostic. I try to focus on like the fundamental 3D techniques. I think you could follow the low poly course in Maya. It's just like certain things like the modifiers would just be very different the way you approach that. But like, everything except that is kind of like the same stuff. It will help you in Maya just as much as it'd help you in Blender. It's all poly modeling, right? So I wouldn't recommend it, to be honest. Yeah, it would be a lot of translation. It would not be the easiest thing in the world. But yes, we are almost done with the side view here, and therefore almost done with the first drawing pass on this turnaround. So I'm gonna take a break real quick, turn up the music a little bit here, and then when I come back, we'll finish this off and close out the stream for today. I will be right back. All right, I am back, and because so many of you so patiently stuck around, not only through the break, but for this entire stream, I'm going to have a special preview just for you all. I'm going to show you an animation I have not shared to the public in any capacity. So get ready for that. But yeah, let's finish off this side view, and I have to go restart this scene once again because Photoshop sucks. But yes, hope you all have been doing well. We're about to close out this stream, but I'm going to show you an exclusive animation preview before that point, so stay tuned. All right, so now, this side view, what even is left to be done? This is kind of good enough, though. This hair looks a little weird to me. I'll rotate this. El rotate. Like so. It's right there, right? Yeah, it'll. Sweet, it is. All right. There's also like something right here I'm noticing. It actually goes. I'm just gonna block that in for now. Not exactly sure what that looks like. I'll have to review the animation. And the stream is actually over. There's the eyes right there. Whoop. Not bad. I don't really... It doesn't super matter getting the eyes in the side view, honestly, because you kind of just take care of that naturally in 3D when you do the front view texturing. But we'll get a silly little base version of that in place. It is something kind of silly. Gets that in place. Gotta do the classic bird brain Teto duck mouth as well. Looks kind of weird inside view, but whatever. That's fine. The Streamlet is so cute. Thank you. It was actually not made by me. It was made by my really good friend Baps, who is majored in graphic design, so that is why it's so good and clean looking. Huge shout out to Baps. He's watching this stream. Probably isn't. He's probably doing other stuff with his life. These ears are so wrong. Oh my goodness. That ain't where they're supposed to go. This is why. Just a first pass, y'all. Just a first pass. We'll probably change that later, but that's fine. Alright, and with all of that done, we're going to say that this first pass of the turnaround sheet is good enough for this first rough sketch pass. And now, I'm going to show you a preview of a... After I catch up on chat, I'm going to show you a preview of a video and animation I made that I promise you only my closest friends have seen. No one else has seen this yet at all. So you're going to get an early preview for sticking around to the end like this and being such a great student. Of course, quick reminders. First of all, thank you so much to everyone who submitted wonderful, wonderful models to the low poly character modeling challenge. Moxy Platinum's submission was awesome, as was Javi's and everyone else's. These turned out so cute and so good, and I really appreciate y'all coming into the challenge like this. These turned out really, really nice, and I love to see the different creativity and different takes on the retro theme. We are going to have another one of these challenges very, very soon. This time the theme is going to be voted upon by my patrons themselves. So if you're interested in getting your model on stream next stream, make sure to check out my Patreon. That's patreon.com/crashsune, and joining today. It's pretty affordable to become a part of this awesome tight-knit community and get your model on stream next time. The contest will once again last for about 30 days. So thank you so much for everyone who submitted to this retro contest. These are wonderful, creative, beautiful submissions. And the only other thing I want to mention before we show you this exclusive animation preview is that my low poly course that gives my full workflow for making low poly characters, that's everything from character design to drawing turnarounds like we've been doing today, as well as the fundamentals of coloring those drawings, and even doing like the specific texture painting stuff, like as much detail as possible. Those are all exclusive to my character modeling course, which is the best price you're going to get on it is right now, because the price increases on August 31st. So make sure to get that today, which is also linked in the description below. But with all that out of the way, I'm going to catch up on chat, then we're going to watch this exclusive animation. So, let's see. I think the little bird toe is sticking up in the middle of the spiral to mimic the ribbon in SV Teto's design. Oh, this? Oh, interesting. That's cute. I like that. Hello, Knock. Welcome. Welcome to the stream. You're just in time to see something very interesting. All right. So thank you for joining the stream, Umbrella, Cameraman, Sylvie, Knock, Ox2Puss, Ultra Combo, Disc, Lucas, everyone. Thank you so much. Let's load up that exclusive video. I'm gonna warn you now, this is an extremely weird animation. I'm not going to explain the context, and the stream is just gonna end afterward. So I hope you're ready for this. It's really weird. Sophie already knows what I'm about to show you. It's interesting. It's an interesting little animation. Okay, where did I put this on my computer? I think it's in this folder. Yep. Okay, let me double check this is the right one. Let's see. Yep, this is the right one. All right. Oh my god, I can't believe I'm actually showing this to people. All right, y'all, you ready? You ready for this exclusive animation preview? You ready for this? Gotta pause the music. All right. Thank you so much for watching the stream, everyone. I'm gonna show you this animation I made. Then we're ending the stream abruptly. All right, you ready for this? Ready for this? All right, I'm gonna turn this down a little bit because it's quite loud. All right, I think that's probably, let me see. That's good enough. All right, we're gonna play this animation and the stream's gonna end. Ready for this all, y'all? It's 14 seconds long. That's the whole animation, baby! Thank you for joining the stream. I'll see you in the next one. I am not explaining the context behind this. You can figure that out on your own if you mind.